Hi, everybody. This is Jim Haggerty with ADE. I just want to take a few minutes and give you an update on the uh, software application for the risk reduction program. Today is Friday, May 15th. Um, Georgia is much like many of the other locations where we're involved, and that is it's a very fluid situation that we're in. We work with courts and probation departments that are debating right now about whether or not to open and whether or not they're going to be seeing clients in person and how they're going to complete the assessment process and put information into client tracking programs. We work with private agencies that are dealing with the same issues. And in Georgia, we know that there are risk reduction programs that are continuing to hold in-person classes, and there are schools that are conducting classes virtually. There's lots of ongoing conversations about this very dynamic situation. So just wanted to let you know where we are here in the middle of May. Um, just a little bit of background here. The pass application that we've been using now for close to 10 years um, is it's been a good software application. We've run a lot of assessments through there. It's accomplished what we need to accomplish. But software programs have a shelf life, and they need to be upgraded and replaced periodically. And we got a long period of use out of that pass application. But we started to have internal discussions about upgrading that application 2 or 3 years ago. We started to get serious about those conversations in 2019, and we had conversations with other stakeholders in late 2019 and early 2020, and we had a plan to upgrade that software in 2020 or early 2021. But then this health crisis hit, as you are no doubt aware. The Department of Driver Services enacted some emergency rules that allowed for a number of things, but relevant to us was being able to complete the needs assessment remotely and students being able to attend virtual classrooms. And so what that did was really ramp up that timeline to roll out this new software application. We started talking about it in mid-March. People started using the new application on April 1st. We set a goal for May 1st to have all the risk reduction program schools on this new software application. That was a very ambitious goal. Clearly, we didn't hit that goal. We've set a bit of a firmer goal for May 31st, which is a little over 2 weeks from now. We chose that date for a number of reasons, but primarily we want to be able to start a new billing period of June 1st with everybody on one system instead of operating in two. Having two systems operating at the same time, just not a very tenable situation. But I want to talk about, before I say that, we've gotten really very good feedback. As I mentioned, schools could start using April 1st. And of course, the early adopters, the folks that are really interested in new things and new technology, come on board right away. People who are a little more resistant to new software applications and new technology, it may take them a little while to get up to speed. And we recognize this. We've done this many times before. We go into an environment where there is no application such as this, and we introduce one, or in an environment such as the risk reduction program where there is an existing software, but we need to upgrade to a new version. We've done this before. We know there's a learning curve. We know that there will always be the early adopters and there will always be the folks who are a little bit more resistant. But we know that when we get a few months down the road and we've completed this transition, that folks are going to be pretty happy with what they see. Um, so that's the path we're on now. So we've set May 31st as our goal. We do Q&A sessions every morning at 10 o'clock. You can attend as many of those as you'd like. We also, make ourselves available for one-on-one conversations outside of those sessions if you'd like to do it that way as well. But let me just give just the briefest of overviews of the two applications. The PASS application really did three things. One, it facilitated the completion of the needs assessment. Now, that may have been in writing at your school, wherein a student fills out an answer sheet in writing, returns it to a staff member who then puts those responses into the PASS software. Or it may have been done interactively, where the student in your building takes the needs survey on a tablet or a laptop or some other internet-enabled device. So it facilitated the needs assessment. Two, it allowed for the transfer of that needs assessment to a clinical evaluator if that was necessary or appropriate. And three, it was through that PASS application that we, for the last number of years, have been collecting the rebate fees for DDS. Those were the three primary functions of that PASS software. Those same three things are the primary functions of the new software. To complete the needs assessment, either in writing if you prefer to do it that way, interactively in your office if you prefer to do it that way, or there is an additional entry method in the new application called a guided survey. This may be helpful with people who have reading difficulties or comprehension difficulties, or perhaps there's a language barrier. The guided survey allows you or professional staff or someone you trust to read the questions to the student and record their answers. So there is an additional entry method in the new application. But number one, it facilitates the completion of the needs assessment. Two, it allows for the transfer of that needs assessment report to not only a clinical evaluator, but to another risk reduction program school, or to a probation officer, or to an attorney, or to anybody else who needs that needs report. Now, this doesn't happen, of course, without a signed release of information from the student, which is included in the application, and as well as the option for the schools to charge a fee for that service. All of that is accounted for in the new application. And then three, just like we have been doing, we will be continuing to collect the rebate fees through this new application. So essentially, the new application mirrors what the old application did. Now there are some changes. Some of these things, some of the steps, the order of the steps have changed. But I think overall it makes for a smoother process. And during this current health crisis and era of social distancing, it allows for that needs assessment to be completed remotely, as currently allowed by the emergency rules. Now, when those emergency rules are lifted, of course, students will no longer be allowed to take the needs assessment remotely, but you'll still have those options of a written survey, an interactive survey, or a guided survey. Now, in addition to those things, this new application also has additional features which are optional. And some of them may be temporary based on these emergency rules. But these are things such as remotely registering the student for the risk reduction program services, allowing them to sign assessment contract, intervention contract electronically, allowing them to make payments directly through the application, which can save you credit card processing fees. And if you're interested in how that works, you can call us and we can have that discussion about how that will work in your location. Providing them a copy, electronic copy of the Prime for Life version 9 workbook, providing them the Prime for Life post test, allowing you to present a list of your scheduled classes. A number of these kinds of features that are built into this application that are frankly optional. Now, we think it's a good idea that you use them. We think it'll save you time and save you money, but they are optional. If you are interested in only now, just backing up a second, I'll give you an example of an optional feature like the electronic signing of the intervention and the assessment contract. It's a very easy process to essentially push those documents out to the student, have them sign them electronically, and have them returned to you. We know, however, though, that even though that functionality exists in the new GARRP software, we know, for example, that some schools use a third-party application to do that already, like DocuSign, for example. And so they don't need necessarily to do it through our application. We also know that some prefer to have a what's called a wet signature on a hard copy document. That can certainly be accommodated through this new application as well. Um, so these optional features exist to help sort of streamline the process, not only in this current health crisis, but also once this health crisis has passed and these emergency rules are lifted. It's expected at that time that everything returns to a brick and mortar location. The students take the needs assessment in a brick and mortar location, and the classroom experience is delivered by a live instructor at a brick and mortar location. And the software that we've created currently accommodates both of those scenarios. And that's why it's been important to get this out there as quickly as we can. As I've mentioned, we've gotten a lot of feedback about this program, and frankly, it's been overwhelmingly positive. Again, we know what to expect when we make an upgrade like this. We know that there are going to be some positive comments and a few negative comments. The reaction to this has been overwhelmingly positive. The reactions, the negative reactions we've gotten have to do with, I think, first and foremost, the speed at which we're rolling this out, and I think that's legitimate. I think it's a legitimate concern. We're walking a line between really lighting a fire under schools to get moved over to this new application, but also not wanting to pull the rug out from underneath anybody. This is a very unique situation that we're in. This is not the way we normally would do things, but I think you can appreciate the fact that this is not a normal set of circumstances. So I appreciate your patience. I appreciate your concerns that we may be moving rather quickly, but it really is sort of the way it is, and the way we need to accommodate the various methods by which the risk reduction program is being delivered now. So I'm asking for your patience on that. If you have any questions or concerns about that, you can certainly reach out to me. The other concerns that we're getting have to do with perhaps a misunderstanding that some of these optional features are required. But the fact remains that if all you want to do with this new software application is complete the needs assessment, you can do that. If you have some other method by which you handle payments or by which you handle contracts or other documentation, you can certainly continue to do that. And you can, but you will be required to use this new software for the needs assessment. This will replace the PASS application that you have been using for the needs assessment. And we want to have this in place by the end of May. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to ADE. You can reach out to me personally. We'll give you the best answers we can. You may not like the answers we give, unfortunately, but based on the circumstances, these are sort of the steps that we had to take. I want to make sure that that you understand the rationale behind what we're doing. I want to be as transparent as possible about things like that. I understand you may have concerns about it, but I want you to see sort of the larger picture here of accommodating the various methods by which risk reduction program schools are operating for the next several months. I'm available. My email address is jim@adeandcorp.com. I'm happy to talk to you about any of this. Um, if you have concerns about making this transition, or perhaps you're eager to make this transition and you want to make sure that you get included in that, feel free to reach out to us, either me personally or you can reach ADE at support@adeandcorp.com. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your understanding, and you can look forward to more updates from ADE as appropriate. Thank you. Have a good weekend and be safe.